Yeah. Hello everyone and welcome to Conversation Design Masterclass. So in this what we're actually doing is we're trying to give you an overview about conversation design. So this is mostly what we plan to do is as more of like an internal sort of a masterclass, but we decided to make it public so that it would be helpful for the community as well. So let's just get started into it. So this is the sort of plan that we have in our mind to discuss with you all. So we plan to have around 15 lessons with around 15 to 20 minutes each. Yeah, so we'll be giving you an overview about how exactly conversation design will be helpful, how you can engage with it, and what are sort of things that you can actually do with conversation design. So that being said, let's first of all look at today's plan. So in today's plan, we plan to actually look into what exactly conversation design is, why it's important, and about the possible route, the career paths and the job roles that you can take through conversation design and the industry overlook and trends in the future. Yeah, let's actually get into this. So, first of all, let's look into what actually conversation design is. So, what is conversation design? So, yeah, okay. So, when we look at what conversation design is, one thing that stands out is we know that how everything is moving towards AI, right? So, any tool that you use has AI integrated into it. So conversation design is something that makes that is used to actually connect the systems, you could say, with users, giving a sort of a human touch, you could say. Of course, this isn't the standard definition. So what I mean by this is that we all have these different systems, right? So these systems we should actually be able to interact with as if it's actually a normal human, a real life human being. So this human touch is what we sought to achieve through conversation design. So we sort of try to make the interactions between these AI systems or non-AI systems. So traditionally conversational design was non-AI, but now it's moving towards AI. So these systems, we are sort of creating a link between the humans by giving it a sort of a personification. So we are making it personalized and personified so that when a human engages with it, he feels like he's communicating with a living, real human being. So that's a sort of the thing that we actually plan to do with conversation design. So let's just say, I think you would have seen a lot of examples in terms of conversation designs. One of the main examples that we see are chatbots. So chatbots are very popular uh, example of conversation design. So we have different chatbots like this. So let's just say this is a screenshot from chatbot.com. So this is just an example about how chatbots differ. So this is one such example. So a chatbot in this say gives a guided flow. Some chatbots like so chatbot.com you can actually chat as well, not just interacting with the suggested responses. You can also chat here and then it will be able to give you a response. So let's just check it out. So if we make something like how are you, so I'll just add the response results here. So you notice that it's not hyper personalized, but it actually gives a good enough response. So this is one such conversation. Yeah, so let me just connect this as well with mine. So this is just one such conversation. But if you look at something like, let's just say a help bot in, let's just say Dialogue's Dia help assistant. And let's just see how it works. So if you see how this works, let's just, okay, so this is using Zendesk. Okay, so now they have changed their approach actually. So, okay, so if we actually try something like, see, because this assumes that this as much as possible tries to go in a preset part. So these are preset path sort of assistance. But what we nowadays do, what we actually do from ConvoGrid is making a chatbot that, not a chatbot, we call chat assistants or agents. We make these agents more interactive. So you can ask literally anything. So when I asked a question like, hi, how are you? See, it didn't really respond. Both of these doesn't really respond in a very personal way. But if you do the same thing with one of our internal bots, so this bot you can actually experiment on conversational.ai as well. So you'll see the difference. So when I say how are you, when I ask how are you from the bot, because this doesn't have preset path, so you can literally take any path that you want. That's the sort of the difference. See, when I ask how are you, see, it responds using its awareness and personality, which is Sharidi owl. So it's a personality which we have made sort of an owl assistant. So this owl assistant makes owl noises. So that's the sort of the difference. So as you can notice here, it's not just about giving responses, but it's also able to understand what the user is trying to do without trying to guide it through a predefined pathway, like in this situation. So that's the sort of the thing. So traditionally, chatbots worked in this approach, the approach which you see before, but with LLMs and all of the AI advancements, now we are able to do things like this as well. So that's the sort of the basic idea about conversation design. So making the bot able to respond in this way is what a conversation designer does actually. So make it very personal and able to assist the user. So for example, if I ask how to create a bot from Chatty, you'll be able to see it'll give the instructions, of course, as it should. So eh, yeah, I'll just put that screenshot as well. Yeah. So if I ask a question like this from the bot, see. Okay, this is the old screenshot. Let me get the new screenshot. Okay, so you can see here, see, when I ask how to create a bot, it gives you the instructions step by step. So, see, you can literally ask anything. That's the benefit of this sort of method that we use nowadays. So, let me just basically, yeah. See, when you scroll down, you'll see, and see, it tries to continue this conversation as well. See, would you like to know more about any other features or services offered by ConvoGrid? So that's the sort of the idea. See, it's not, we are not limited to one specific flow. We can literally do anything that we want because of the AI advancements and so on. So that's the sort of the area that conversation design is moving to. Traditionally, it was building things like this. So, for example, you click on this build AI chatbot, then it will tell you how to build a chatbot. But then you won't be able to have custom conversations like how are you, those sort of things. Yeah. So that's the basic idea about conversation design. So what we are doing is we are trying to give a personality to the chatbot or the chat assistant, and we are trying to make it able to understand what the user is asking, find the necessary information using its knowledge base. So the way it gets all of these answers is using the knowledge base. So you can, if you use ConvoGrid, you can actually see how, where I took the information from. So see, it gives something called sources. So you'll be able to see how and where I took all of these from. So what we do is we feed all of this information and then we create the bot using that information and we do a prompt engineering process with conversation designing, and that's how it's able to answer and respond with all of this. So that's the idea. I hope it's understandable. Yeah. So traditionally we had this and now we have something like this. So that's the basic idea about conversation design. So why it's important? Well, of course, the thing is this, nowadays any application that you see has AI, right? In literally any application, even if it's a simple payment application, it has some sort of AI embedded into it. Maybe you can ask information about your last payment and whatnot. So nowadays, when everything is moving towards this, what people interact with is mostly this sort of the chat assistant, right, to get the things done. So even if a very good example is actually ClickUp. So ClickUp actually has embedded their assistant in a really, really amazing manner, you could call it. So let me just share the pickups one. Just get a screenshot of the pickup so that you can see how it looks. So, so let's just say, see, I have, for example, this board. So let's just keep it. They have moved the system now. Previously it was over here, now it is here. Uh, so let's just click this thing. So tell me what tasks are due. So see, the assistant, the AI agent is very powerful enough that it can actually understand the user's query and it will be able to respond. See, because there are no tasks, it says that there are no tasks. So if I ask it to due chatbot, so has been created. See, now if I refresh the page, see, you can see it has come here. See, today is Friday, today is Wednesday. So as you can see, all of these systems now integrate chatbots deep into the system. When we're moving into such an era, your conversation design plays a huge part because the way this bot responds, what is how it responds, how it communicates with you. All of these are governed by conversation design. So that is why it's actually important in 2025, 2025 and onwards. Because now all of these systems have this sort of AI use cases. So yeah, so this understanding conversation design is of course important so that you'll be able to create both assistants that can respond in this manner, and you'll also be able to fine tune or improve your system and make it more personal to the users. Yeah, so that's about why it's important. So let me just take another card here. Why important? Because all the systems have AI. Not all yet, it's most, but most systems have AI integrated. So by learning shading, which is conversation design, can improve and personalize the experience. Yeah, so that's the sort of the idea behind conversation design. So one such example is this. Yep. Okay, good. So now let's actually look into what are the roles and career paths. So if you look at, there's a popular site called conversation design jobs. Shun design jobs. So if you actually search for it, you'll be able to see all of the different jobs that are available for conversation designers. So yeah, so these are some of the jobs that are available. We'll just take another sticky note here. Jobs available. So yeah, this platform actually shows you all of the jobs that are available for conversation design related. And I also recently noticed that there were jobs which connect user experience and conversation design as well. So of course, these sort of things are available in the market. So yeah, and nowadays since everything is moving towards this sort of interfaces, understanding conversation design will of course make you a much better suited for any job, literally, not just conversation design, but almost everything. Because understanding how the chatbot works or how the agent works will, of course, improve and make you a better candidate in the market. Apart from that, yeah, so the trends and the future outlooks, yeah, so that is another part that we can think about. And for that, let me just take another sticky note. Yeah, so industry trends and outlook. Trends and outlook. Yeah, so when we look at the industry trends, we see this sort of thing is becoming much more popular. So let me just connect. Oh, I think it's better if I bring this here itself so that it will be much cleaner and simple to understand. Okay. Yeah, so these sort of things are becoming popular nowadays again. So when these sort of things are being popular, it's smart, of course, to be aware and stay updated with these sort of things so that you have a much better chance of establishing in the industry. So apart from this, yeah, so we see these sort of systems are emerging. We see everything moving towards AI. We see everything, all of the systems trying to adapt all of this, and we also see that most of the jobs, most of the traditional jobs are of course replaced. So easy tasks are mostly automated, and difficult tasks are easy now. So that's we are moving to something where this happens nowadays. So I also, if you recently noticed, there's a very big topic going on. Like even this was actually put. Yeah. So let me just get that here. Of course, yeah. So this was a recent post as well. So let me just put it over here so that you can see it. So yeah, this was actually an email sent by Fever's owner to his team. So the owner CEO. Yeah, it's a CEO actually. Yeah, by the CEO to his team. So he has sent this email. So he has mentioned about how AI is actually dominating everything, and as a result of it, more everyone's job is at a risk. So staying updated is of course essential. So when you see, regardless of whether you are programmer, designer, lawyer, or anything, AI is coming for you. So you should be prepared and able to actually stand out in the market. So when you stand up in the market only, you'll be able to actually get a job, you could say, or able to establish your own business or whatnot. So by being prepared and by understanding how all of this works, you'll be much safer than if you do not have an idea at all. So that's the sort of the brief about conversation design, and yeah, so this is a simple introduction about why conversation design is useful and why it's needed. So hopefully in the future sessions we'll be able to cover about how personalities and everything are important and will be useful in making a good experience. Maybe something similar to this or this. Yeah, down the line we'll be actually focusing it, and we'll be also showing you how you can actually create this sort of chatbots and how you'll be able to improve on it. So just to give you a bit more context about how all of this works. So if you're using the traditional approach, what works is we have different blocks like this. So what you'll have is you'll see an interface where you'll have blocks with an intent, and then you'll have to choose the response. So this is the sort of the pattern that it works. And yeah, so there's a decision maybe two. So maybe the before we get the intent, we have a diamond shaped thing, decision box. So if you are familiar with flowcharts, you'll be able to. It's very similar to that. So that seems like there's no diamond. Okay, so let's just rotate. Oh, that's a diamond. Okay, good. Yeah, so we have intent and then we have a decision. Sometimes you don't even have a. So we have something like this. So we have an intent, we have a decision, and then we have the responses. Okay. So this is how the traditional conversation design used to work. So we get a user intent and then we decide what sort of a response to show. But now with AI and LLM, this happens at a very large scale. So because this happens at a very large scale, so what happens is it's almost akin to we have the intent and then we have the response. But what happens here is magic, literally. I mean, you could call it AI magic happens here. AI magic happens with large language models and LLMs, etc. Of course, there's like a lot of things that get into it. So let me just put this as a oval or a circle. Yeah, something like this would be good enough to showcase what happens. So we have the LLMs, knowledge base, conversation. Yeah, it's called prompt engineering in this situation. Prompt engineering, agents sometimes. Agents in sense it's an agentic network. So we have all of these things, and then this comes to this. Yeah, so that's the sort of the thing that happens. Seems like it doesn't allow us to connect an arrow to an arrow. So let's just connect it this way. Okay. Yeah, so something actually happens. So yeah, this is the how it works now. But previously it was more like this. So we have intent responsation, and then we again get. So if it's this one, it will continue like this. So previously we had to define all of these things manually. So let me just. So previously this was how it worked. So we have all of these things, and then yeah. So this was how it works. So it continues as a chain. But now, because of AI and everything, we get the intent, we get the AI using the knowledge base LLM and everything, then we get the response. So now things are much more streamlined and easier than it was before. Yeah. So yeah, that's the basic idea and the understanding that we wanted to give you today. So hopefully in the future sessions we'll be able to show you how this one works, how all of this works, using something like voice flow, and we'll show you how this works in ConvoGrid, so that you'll be able to have a solid understanding about how conversation design works as a whole. So before that, there are topics like personas, about how the bot intent, about the bot responses, and all of those. So we'll be gradually increasing the content information that we provide and making you able to understand how conversation design will be useful. So yeah, that being said, we have reached almost the end. So any questions? Okay, cool. So thank you for watching this or joining in. Yeah, let's see you in the next one.